And so if you all have got the paper in your hands, it is a list of people who are culpable and can possibly help push for change and also push the president of Yale and the police chief of Yale to fire Officer Terrence Pollock. And also, we can put pressure on the Hamden officials. We need to put pressure on the city council of Hamden, of the mayor of Hamden, and various other entities. If you look through that paperwork, it's a lot of papers, but pick who you want to email, call, do all of them, share it. There is also a link on Black Lives Matter New Haven page and other orgs, PSL. I'll make sure that they have the link so you can share it via online. In that link, there's also a copy of a letter. So if you've never done this before, you can just fill in the blanks, email that letter out, print it out, snail mail, email, all of the mails. Use them. Do it a couple of times. There's a lot of trustees on the board of Yale. They are not residents of Connecticut. Some of them live in Hong Kong and in London and California, and so they can remove themselves from this and not be culpable. They are directly responsible for creating the policy and procedures of policing at Yale and the relationship between Yale and New Haven. So please share this. This may seem like it is not a big thing, but this is actually one of the things that actually get most campaigns successful, is annoying the hell out of these city officials and letting them know that our eyes are on them, that our eyes won't leave them. We know where they work at. We know where they live. And we will send emails and phone calls to their jobs. We will send emails and phone calls to the Yale Board of Trustees address. Now, if you also look in the latter part of the list, there are a whole list of people that work at the Yale Police Department. We have a woman up there. Her name is Lisa Skelly Byrne, I believe. She is in charge of compliance and strategies. She's not technically a police officer, but she reports directly to the Yale chief of police. She's in charge of strategy and policy. And so we need to identify and let Lisa Byrne know that we know that she needs to do her job. We needed to demand that she do what she is hired to do, and I'm sure she gets an awesome salary to do it as well. There are also police officers that are identified. They are in charge of the patrol training. These are important people who will always go unseen unless we call them out. So please email these people, call these people. If some of you are Yale students, if you see them on campus, let them know, oh hey, I didn't know that was your job, but now I do know, and I am going to demand that you do what your job is. There are also job descriptions and titles up there, so you can call accountability to the fact that you know what their job is, and you can align that in your lettering. We have to make sure that we let them know that this is not a chaotic thing. These are not just people who are feeling. These are people who are feeling, and we are informed, and we are demanding, okay? And let's continue to do that in every way. We have, I'm sure you guys know, Kerry Ellington has been very instrumental of people against police brutality. Very instrumental, yes! Yes. And so I'm going to have her come up and inform. Kerry and Amelia, thank you. So we're gonna have Amelia first.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Amelia Allen. I'm this descendant of Freddie Lee Tyson, who was exploited by the syphilis experiment in Tuskegee. I am the descendant of so many others. so many ancestors that are sitting with me right now. It's a little overwhelming. I was asked to do a poem. And I would sing for you, but I don't have a voice. I tried in the mirror this morning. I feel numb, engulfed with grief and rage. There is no moment to run out of this skin that continues to disobey me. I tell it to stop being so loud, so free, and somehow it begins to roar, to scream. My skin be an involuntary muscling strength that somehow I can't see, but you do. The ones in blue, dragging me to the ground, pushing my face to cement like I am nothing, like I am less than nothing, like I am less than nothing's unwanted sister, aunt, mother, grandmother, sister, friend. I do believe you see right through me. You see right through us, like we be a nuisance. While you put a noose on your nuanced ideas of humanity and call it opinion, call it morals and values. See, I'm not asking you for my justice anymore. We are gonna take it. What are we gonna do? Take it! What are we gonna do? Take it! I'm not asking anyone for my justice anymore. We are going to take it. We are taking back our humanity. You can't have my children. You can't have my family. You can't have my husband. You can't have my joy. You can't have my love. You can't have my future. See, if I'm not safe, you ain't safe. We are gonna fight with 10 toes to the ground. We're gonna continue to occupy space. We're gonna continue to show up to council meetings, alder meetings, mayor offices. See, our pieces are loaded with the organizing strength of our ancestors who can continue to shield us, continue to show up, continue to lead us to the liberation that they so desperately want for us. And when you think we are done, we will have an army like you ready to win. Are you ready to win? Ready to win. Are you ready to conquer? Ready to conquer. Are you ready to overcome? Ready to overcome. Are you ready to disrupt? Ready to disrupt. Are you ready to rebuild? Ready to rebuild. Today is Easter Sunday. So let us not forget that Jesus was a brown man persecuted and labeled other just like us. Killed and called a sacrifice. My friend Britt said that we Christians have some reckoning to do. Some pulling out weeds and really understanding what Jesus' mission was. Let's be very clear. Britt said Jesus didn't die for our sins. He died because of our sins. And I'm sure when God found out her only son was going to be killed, she said, you can't have him. And on this day, she took her son back from a world that couldn't love him, couldn't love his revolutionary way, the way he called out racism, the way he lifted people experiencing poverty up, almost like Nipsey. See, everybody got a Judas in their crew, a hater, or someone wrapped up. Jealousy is swallowing you whole. I came today instead of going to church because we are dying. Our babies are dying. The police have the power to take our lives at any given moment and get impunity. They get to go home to their children after they brutalize us, chase us down like cattle, and kill us. We cannot wait for the state to do their investigation. We want it now. Say, we want it now. Say, we want it now. We want it now. Do your jobs and see us as humans. We are not a burden. We never asked to be here in the first place. Well, when the first ships landed on the coast of the continent to snatch us off our homelands, do you think they came willingly? We have been fighting for our freedom and have been stuck here ever since. Too American to be recognizable to our own real home. Too black to be living in this blurry vision of the American dream because we are too busy being stewards of yours. No black children dream of being an anti-racist organizer. Racism happens to us, and that experience forces us to fight for our lives, to fight for our existence to be seen. So are you ready to fight? I can't hear you. Are you ready to fight? Yes. Are you ready to win? Yes. Are you ready to conquer? Yes. Are you ready to love? Yes. Are you ready to win? Yes. Are you ready to conquer? Yes. Are you ready to take it? Yes. Are you ready to take it? Yes. Are you ready to take it? Yes. We got work to do. Let's go. So Kerry's tired, y'all. As she should be, right? She's been doing a lot of work. As you all know, this event is hosted by Black Lives Matter New Haven. Let's get a round of applause for them. Party for Socialism and Liberation, Justice for Jason, Police Against Brutality, and Connecticut Bail Fund. This is an urgent call to statewide action. Police violence is a crisis in our state and right here in the very towns we live in. We are gathered today to pray for Stephanie, Washington, and Paul, and call for accountability against police violence in Black and brown communities across Connecticut, and specifically in New Hallville, where we stand right now. It is a triple occupation of police departments over surveillancing like modern day overseers. We are gathering to call for healing, recovery, and justice for both Stephanie Washington and Paul, the driver of the vehicle. This is a gross miscarriage of justice and a violation of their rights to due process. Stephanie Washington was a 22-year-old young Black woman. Paul Witherspoon, a young Black man, were shot at numerous times by Hamden and Yale police in the New Hallville neighborhood. Stephanie is currently still recovering from her bullet wounds. We send her healing energy and strength. The media wants us to believe that she does not have life-threatening wounds, but we all know that Stephanie is in critical condition because after being shot and shot at multiple times, you are mentally and physically not well. You are mentally and physically not well after this. So we demand that Yale, Hamden police officers involved in this excessive and lethal shooting be fired immediately. The commission-in-chief have the power to suspend without pay and fire them right now. Say, fire them right now! Fire them right now! Body camera footage and all footage be released immediately. The Chief State's Attorney Office provide the people with a just, moral, and transparent investigation that holds all officers involved in the shooting accountable for their use of excessive and lethal force on unarmed people. Did y'all see the video? Yes. If you didn't, it's okay because I need you to protect yourself. We don't need, especially Black and brown people, we don't need to see the evidence of the video to know and believe them. We need to just believe them. It is regular occurrence that Hamden police cross into New Haven jurisdiction and escalate force and lethal violence on community members. We are calling for an end to this. This power should be revoked. Mayor Harp has called for policies from surrounding towns regarding when police from those towns, like Hamden, decide to enter to the city. We need to continue to push her to that and hold her accountable to that. Number 5, this is also a pattern demonstrated by Hamden Police Department, who are allowed to come into New Haven and escalate lethal force, causing harm to our community. In August 2018, Jarrell Gibbs was killed after Hamden Police Department chased a vehicle he was a passenger in. The car was unrecognizable afterwards. Number 6, we are calling for an end to lethal police violence in New Haven, but also in Hamden. There have been countless recent events where Black and brown community members in Hamden have been victim to excessive force and harassment, including a youth in Hamden Elementary and Middle School. We will not allow SROs in Hamden schools to harass, arrest, and potential assault Hamden Black and brown students. Instead of putting more money and resources into funding more police in schools, the city council can put aside money for a third-party investigator. Divest. We need to divest police officers. Number 7, we are calling for an end to lethal police chases that result in death. We need a statewide law that counts police chases as lethal force. Otherwise, police chases will be a way to shield police from killing and murdering people in our communities. To date, there have been 19 people killed by police across Connecticut, and as you know, there was a killing last night, or a shooting, I should say. We demand our Chief State's Attorney stop turning a blind eye on shootings like the one last week, and we demand our Chief State Attorney's office to stop giving police impunity. Stop giving them impunity. Stop giving them impunity.
This is a call to action. Real fast, I'm going to read a message provided by the ACLU of Connecticut, who stands in solidarity with our call for accountability now. The Hamden Police Commission is a resident-controlled, so what I'm reading is was wrote from the ACLU currently, and I'll tell you when I stop. The Hamden Police Commission is a resident-controlled accountability tool charged with providing oversight over the Hamden Police. The body consists of 5 town residents, 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans nominated by the Hamden mayor and approved by the Hamden Legislative Council. Y'all with me? Yes. They serve 2-year terms beginning each municipal election cycle. They are charged by the city charter with the power to approve and set policies and procedure for the Hamden Police Department. They have the power to receive and investigate complaints from town residents against the Hamden Police Department and/or individual Hamden police officers like Devin Eaton. They also have the sole power to appoint, promote, and remove. The key word there is remove all personnel, including officers and members of the police department. The Hamden Police Commission does not need to wait for a state's attorney's investigation to launch their own investigation as to whether Hamden Police failed to comply with department protocol and policies, and whether or not Devin Eaton, Hamden police officer, failed to comply with department protocols and policies. Are there any Hamden residents here? Raise your hands. And this doesn't only count for Hamden residents, but all residents, especially New Hallville residents, seeing how Hamden Police can come into New Hallville and have jurisdiction here. We all need to storm the Hamden Police Commission's meeting this May 8th at 5:30 at Hamden City Hall. That's the first call to action. Hamden residents, in addition to New Hallville residents and just residents around the state, we all need to file a complaint to kickstart a process where the Hamden Police Commission can initiate an independent investigation, not an internal affairs investigation, an independent investigation that would allow the third-party arbitrator to investigate this lethal, deadly shooting from Hamden police officer Devin Eaton, as a means of initiating the process to getting him fired. So we're asking you to show up to file complaints to the Hamden Police Commission to kickstart this process, and we're asking you to call for an independent investigation. We're asking you to call the Hamden Police Commission to initiate an independent investigation into this deadly shooting, into this lethal shooting of Stephanie Washington and Paul Witherspoon. Excuse me, I'm a little tired, y'all. All right. You don't need to be the party harmed by the police to file a complaint. Any resident in Hamden can file a complaint and seek justice for Stephanie and Paul Witherspoon, and any resident in Connecticut can file a complaint and seek justice for Stephanie Washington and Paul Witherspoon. We want the city of Hamden to take immediate disciplinary action now and to fire the Hamden police officer Devin Eaton for his use of lethal force against Stephanie Washington and Paul Witherspoon. We are calling the mayor of Hamden and the chief of Hamden Police Department to make a recommendation now to the Hamden Police Commission to fire the Hamden police officer Devin Eaton. The evidence is clear that Hamden police officer Devin Eaton broke Hamden Police Department protocol, endangering the lives of Stephanie Washington and Paul Witherspoon, who were met with unjust lethal force, in addition to endangering the residents proximate to this police shootout. Y'all can clap. More specifically, we are calling the Hamden Legislative Council, who is meeting tomorrow night. So for all of you, if you can make it, please raise your hand. We're calling for residents in Hamden and around this area and around the state to attend this special Legislative Council meeting tomorrow night, where they will be holding a special meeting to discuss the police budget. Yes. And in particular, the city has been calling for SROs in elementary school and middle schools. We feel that they can use those monies and put that to hiring an independent investigator to investigate this case. And that's what we want to call tomorrow. We want to call the Hamden Legislative Council to fund an independent investigation into Hamden police officer Devin Eaton for his excessive and lethal and negligent shooting on April 16, 2019. This investigation should be handled by a third-party arbiter and not the Hamden Police Department of Internal Affairs. So in immediate action, and we're happy you came out today, is we have to keep the momentum going to get the justice that we need and to ensure that these two police officers do not get to walk the beat again and endanger the lives. They are unfit to be police officers. It is not a right to be a police officer, it is a privilege, and this privilege should be revoked. So there are 3 meetings we are asking you to show up to. We're asking you to show up to the special legislative council meeting tomorrow. Is Justin here? Could someone shout out the time of that meeting? 6 o'clock. It's at 6 o'clock. Thank you. It's at 6 o'clock and it's at the Hamden Town Hall. We're asking y'all to show up and to express your rage and to express a strong ask for this officer to be fired and for this process to be initiated by an independent investigation and for funds to be allotted toward that. Is that clear? Yes. The second thing that we're asking for is for you to show up to the full legislative council meeting on May 6th at 7 p.m. At Hamden Town Hall. And we're asking again, we're asking that Hamden Legislative Council to write a resolution. They can write a resolution that strongly urges the Hamden Police Commission to open up an independent investigation. And then we're asking you all to show up on May 8th at the Hamden Police Commission meeting with complaints in hand. And Hamden residents in particular, this is a special call for you to mobilize your communities to show up with complaints in hand and to demand an investigation into this lethal shooting by officer. And we say lethal because when you shoot at people that many times, you are attempting to murder them. That's what that is. We're happy. So, just to explain why I'm using that language. So we're calling for you all to come out May 8th to the Hamden Police Commission meeting. And we'll be putting all these calls out on the People Against Police Brutality page, on Black Lives Matter New Haven page, on the Party for Socialism and Liberation page, on Connecticut Bill Fund page, so you can stay informed over these next couple weeks. But the first step is to show up tomorrow at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock at Hamden Town Hall. That's the first step. Who's going to show up tomorrow? All of us. Who's going to show up tomorrow? Right? And we also, next, we're going to have Samantha, student from the law school at Yale, is going to speak about how we're looking to hold Yale accountable and some organizing being done to do that.
Just to check, if you're thirsty, we have snacks. Please come over here, get something to eat. Fill your stomachs. I know it's after church for some of you all, so you might be a little peckish. Don't be out here thirsty, okay?
Hello everybody, I'm Samantha Grayman. I'm a second-year law student at Yale Law School, and I am here on behalf of a lot of law students and Yale students more broadly. I just want to shout out to the undergrads who have been organizing extremely well the past few days. Shout out to them. So our number one priority is to support community organizers and to heed the demands of the organizers on the ground. So we are continuously reworking and reframing our demands so that we can ensure we are incorporating the leaders, the true leaders in this movement right now. And our number one demand for Yale University is to fire the Yale PD officer, Terrence Pollock. At the same time, we have also started organizing in our own capacity the Black students in the undergrad community started a group called Black Students for Disarmament of Yale. Law students at Yale have started a FOIA request, that is a Freedom of Information Act request, for the state to release all footage related to the incident. This will be filed tomorrow. We have been sharing around a link to that. Everybody is open to sign it, so I will try to make sure that that is out to all the organizations by tonight. We have a lot of signatures on that, and anybody can sign that. Our next move this week is very similar to what Kerry was just discussing when it comes to the complaints against the Hamden Police Department. We are also in the move of running a civilian complaint campaign this week against the Yale Police Department. So yes, that will be our next move this week. We want to make sure that New Haven residents engage in this, so this will be another Yale student and New Haven community joint coalition effort, because as we all know, New Haven residents are civilians and can file these complaints against the YPD. So look out for that. We'll be sending out information to all the networks in the next few days about the details of that. The hope is that that will also be a media campaign. So our number one request is that people continue to post on social media with the hashtag Justice for Stephanie and Paul. We're getting a lot of hits on that now. We have encouraged people to tag Sean King. Of course, he is right now dealing with another incident of police brutality in Broward County, Florida. So I know he's inundated with a lot of stuff with that. We're still trying to get his attention. So please, hashtag Justice for Stephanie and Paul and at Sean King. We are also planning to mobilize students to attend the Hamden City Council meeting on May 6th. We are mobilizing students to attend the Yale Police Department Commission meeting on May 14th. And finally, we are currently crafting strategy for long-term solutions. So our number one goal in this regard is to end the triple police occupation of New Haven by pushing for the abolition of the Yale Police Department, which begins by demanding that Yale start paying taxes to New Haven. So we are in the process of crafting that long-term strategy along with a lot of partners in the Yale community. But that is what is in the works right now from Yale. And our number one goal, like I said, is to support community activists, community members. That's where the real work lies, and we are aware of that. We're just here to use all of our resources and our voices because they are important. Thank you.